Hello, everyone. So we know who the next president's going to be. It's been a hell of a morning. Basically, Heather Humphreys is gone now. She's been pretty much conceded defeat. That she won't win the presidency. So pretty much it's Catherine Connolly, even though all the votes are not counted across the country, but pretty much it is Catherine Connolly that has it. Now, obviously, I couldn't. I didn't really care less. I was not in favour of the two of them. I spoiled my vote. And speaking of spoiling your vote, I'm not the only one that spoiled my vote. It seems like everybody did it. Near enough, it's insane. In some parts of it, in one part of it, I think in some part of Dublin, was 3,000 spoiled votes in just one area of Dublin. I don't know what area it was, but I heard it on social media there. Hello, Sean. Good evening. Donegal, I hear there was about 15% or 14% in Donegal. I'm not too sure about that. We don't have all the details yet. The official announcement of it, I suppose, is just the first tally, I suppose. But it's a lot of spoiled votes there. And Cavan, I think it's about 10%, which was insane. 10%. Last time I took count, it was 800 or so in Cavan. So at this stage, it's probably nearly 1,000 or 1,500, maybe 2,000. But it's 10% of the vote. Yeah, it could be, but we don't know. I suppose it's hard to know. But one constituency was 3,000 in some part of Dublin, which is a lot for one ballot. And in some parts it was insane, and some of the ballot boxes. But yeah, the only constituency in the country that's going to vote for Heather Humphreys is this constituency. But a lot of people spoiled the vote, including me. But a lot of people did. But Heather Humphreys only won really Cavan. Catherine Connolly pretty much has won the West. But it's an election. There's lots of things to be talked about here. Because first of all, Pepito Bean spoiled his vote. In fairness to him, like he said there a few minutes ago that he spoiled his vote, which is probably the only one. I don't know with any other independents. They probably didn't do. I'd say the other Aontú representative did. We don't know, but he's probably the only member that probably did at the Dáil. Maybe spoiled his vote. Hello, Shawnee. How are we doing? But it had to be one of them. Like at the end of the day, somebody was going to be elected either way. Even if only one person in the whole country went out and voted, that one vote would have counted. But it's they got a queer kick up the whole government. Like there's the huge kick up the whole for them, because it is like as Sean just said, that the largest. Like it couldn't be like it's insane. It's absolutely unprecedented. The amount of loud, and not even that too. There's two sides of this coin. There's the people who went out and spoiled vote like myself, and then there's the people that didn't even bother to turn up. So many people didn't turn up. Like half of the people in Cavan didn't turn up. There was no like half of the people didn't turn up. So that just shows the people are not happy. Even though they registered the vote, a lot of people just didn't turn up and protested that way. So it's an historic low too. This is the lowest turnout of any presidential election probably in history of the Irish state. It's the foundation of the state in 1930s when the Irish Constitution came into play and Douglas Hyde was the first president. So there's two sides of it there. But what it mainly says is that people are not happy. And Fine Gael are pretty fucked. Fine Gael didn't do well at all. They only done well in Cavan. But they're fucked everywhere else pretty much. Fine Gael. Like, even the most Fine Gael heartlands in Dublin and stuff is just gone. Just this it's a bit dispatchated. But yeah, no, it's a queer kick up the hole for the establishment, and I'm happy to see it. Because I don't know what Simon House is going to say, but we're not going to see them for a while. But yeah, they're very upset. OT is having a mental breakdown. I actually watched OT there earlier on just to see them have a mental breakdown, because they actually are having a mental breakdown. Yeah, but it's not true. The last count I think somebody took was about 13, and it's a bit more. But it probably will be 30. It'd be between 15 and 30 when the whole thing is said and done. The whole thing is not said and done yet. Like all the votes haven't been counted everywhere. We're still waiting in a lot of places to do double checks, etc., etc. So it's going to be another. We won't know until probably 6 o'clock. But definitely Catherine Connolly is one of. There's no other way of denying it. But I do congratulate Catherine Connolly and stuff. I'm not going to sit here and be a bitch bitching about it. But they did win. So in fairness, in that, even though I'm not thrilled about it, but one of them was going to win anyway. So we just have to see. I suppose we have to put up with it for 7 years. It's a long time, 7 years. But the good thing about this is there's going to be a big debate about this election. But there's going to be a huge debate about it in terms of should we get rid of the presidency, which I suggest we should. We should just abolish the presidency, or that we reform the presidency, because obviously people are not happy. Like Maria Stevenson and Nick Delahanty and other people two should have got on the ballot. Even people that they disagree with, I didn't agree with Gavin Sheridan, the independent fellow. He was a pharmaceutical tycoon. Even though I didn't agree with him, he still had the right to be on the ballot. He should have been on the ballot. Um, but at the end of the day, you get what I'm saying. People, what I suggest is, as president farm, any citizen should be able to put their name forward to become president. I think this whole limited enough democracy, because that's what it is, that you are selected, and that's what's happening. You're selected, not chosen by the people. You're selected by the political parties to run. That's what happened. And then we've seen Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael block candidates. Maria Stevenson probably would have got in, but Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael councillors were told not to let anybody, literally anybody, even God himself, came and wanted to be put on the ballot. They were told to reject it. Like, that's what they were told by Micheál Martin and Simon Harris, and Sinn Féin pretty much done the same. You know, but yeah, no. But this is the thing: is the president? She can't do anything about the borders. There's nothing that the president can do about the borders. So she can say about it. She says can what the lay of the borders wide open. But at the end of the day, there's nothing she can do. The worry is if Sinn Féin gets into government along with that, then there's trouble. Or Labour Party, etc., get into government along with that, because pretty much you can do nothing as the president, because pretty much the government tells you what to do, pretty much. If that makes any sense, Johnny. So she can't do anything. Even if she wanted open borders, she can't really have it. Even though the country has open borders, So I don't think it will make much of a difference. But yeah, a huge amount of like just saying about near City West, that area, Dublin, the amount of just looking at here, because I've written it down, there was so many people that spoiled the ballots by putting get them out, etc., etc. Like the amount of that was on the ballots is absolutely madness. Yeah, well, we see what happens, and it's going to be a while. Yeah, we won't. She's not president anyway. For when is it? Sorry, it's the 11th of November. The 11th of November is the inauguration. So Michael Higgins is there for another 2 weeks, pretty much, as they're on the hearing, as the president of Ireland. But what it's done is done. But the main thing is the government got a quite a kick in the hole, like in every possible way. Loads of people didn't turn up, and then the people who turned up, a lot of them spoiled their votes. So it is a really kick up the hole. Like if you ever wanted to see a kick up the hole, that's what it is. Like it's a massive kick up the hole for the government, like just on another industrial level. Um, but what is this now? But yeah, it's an industrial level kicking up the hole. Um, I see it's going. I see one of your local councillors, Sean, is calling everybody far white. Um, Joe Kelly, no, Thomas Pringle, what they call it, yeah, Thomas Pringle, that TD, he's calling everybody far white for spoiling the votes. This is the new thing. If you spoil your vote, now you're far white. So there you go, Sean. Yeah, the establishment's having a meltdown, just to say. Like, I'm just looking at the media here. They're doing their best. Like, the media are literally losing their mind at the moment, just to say. Yeah, because they're trying to spin this best they can. I don't think there's any spinning it, unfortunately. It's just bad. Yeah, this is going on. I think it's no. I don't know if Sean's still. It's about 6,000 actually in Donegal. Just looking at this from Highland Radio, it's about 6,000. So it's calling 6,000 people far right. That's going to go out. Further poets, yeah, but still, I say at the end of the day, no. But the thing about it was that like all the poets were suggesting that she was going to run away with it. Um, but not even that. A lot of young people did. A lot of people my age did in the colleges. You seen the way she went to the colleges and stuff. So it's to me, it's she pretty much won it. To be done inside. I don't think there's any dispute over that because she went and got the young people that don't really understand the presidency. You know, if that makes any sense, and that's how she got it. Because young people look for anything at the moment. Like I see young people even in Cavan. They thought Catherine Connolly could wave a magic wand and get them a house, etc. And that's what young people my age thought that Catherine Connolly was God, God on earth, that they could literally get everything. But as you know, the presidency, she can do nothing for them. Like she actually can do nothing for them. Uh, so they were all kind of misled, you know, in a lot of way. But still, they voted the way. So I don't think maybe it was in some regards, but I don't think so. I say it was fair enough, because I'm sure the government would rather had a Humphreys be there. Um, McDowell was right. Yeah, if Maria Stevenson did won, she might not have won the election, but she would have done very well because people would have had a candidate to vote for instead of Jim Gavin or the spoiling the votes. And if you add all that up, it would have been a queer number of votes. She definitely would have bet Heather Humphreys in the polls and Jim Gavin. But I don't know would she have bet Catherine Conley. It would have been tough, but I'd say she could have probably done very well. But that's the reason why. But Michael McDowell now, he should have, even though he didn't want to vote for, but because again, at the end of the day, it's not his decision. It's up to the people to decide who is the president. You know, but yeah, there we go. So your local TD is calling everybody far right, Sean. So there you go. That's great stuff. It's a great way to start. It's a great way to go around call people far right extremists, you know, for spying the votes. But at the end of the day, you know, it's something I wouldn't do all the time. Let's put that way. If the next election is probably be the local election, no, the European election, and then the Dáil election. But that's a good few years. 2019, we're talking about. 2019, 2029, sorry, excuse me, we're going back in time. Um, but yeah, unless there's a referendum, but I presume there will be a referendum. There's a European court thing that we have to vote on. Eventually, we're going to do it with the family. We're going to do it with what were they going to do it? Yeah, they were going to do it with the general election, I think that time. Yeah, and then they said no after the last referendum. Because I would vote against it anyway, just to fuck over the government. Even if the government came along now and said, "I'm going to give you €1 billion if you vote yes," I still would vote against them. Just to, at this point in my life, my main goal in life is to despite the government in every possible way. That's my main goal. So there you go. And the same with the mainstream political parties. I'm out to despite them in every specific way. And it should be the main goal of every Irish citizen too, to be out to get them in every possible way, to fuck them over in every way possible. Um, to close the borders. Well, I don't know about every country in Europe, but you know, the president, as I say, doesn't have much of a role. So it's not that big of a deal in the whole shebang of it. It's the general election is very important and stuff. Hello, James. Good evening. How are we doing? Good. Well, good day. Good day, I suppose, instead of good evening. How are you doing? Um, but you know, things can be repaired. Yeah, things can be repaired. It's just the will. You have to have the will, and you have to have the right people and stuff to be there. Um, good to see you, James. Hope you're having a good Saturday so far. So, a lot of stuff going on. So that's a sound of a panic there. But you know, it can be repaired. Things can be done. Like take for example, we go back to Germany and stuff. After the Second World War. Like Germany was destroyed into the ground and stuff, and you see Germany nowadays, it's well built up, etc., etc. What I mean by that is even countries that were destroyed by war, etc., etc., were able to come back from it. Take for example Finland, you know, during the Winter War, the Continuation War, etc., etc., they lost thousands and thousands of people fighting the Soviet Union, and they were still able to come back from it. So you can come back from things, you can, but it's having the will to repair and get good people in that really care and That's the difficult part. Things can be changed. Things can, as you've seen today, the massive amount of people spoiling their votes, and people not even bothering to turn up. Take for example, there's a huge change. Yeah, but no, but this is the thing. I don't know about that, like the Palestinian people coming, that amount of people coming, because the president. This is the thing. The president has no authority. It's the government who has to say in that. Like even if Catherine Conley wanted to bring, say, 250,000 Palestinians in, even though she would be a good president for Palestine because she's always on about Palestine, but she couldn't do it. So that because the Constitution doesn't say that the president has the right to bring all these people. It's the government who sorted out. The Department of Justice gives them the visas, etc. So even if Catherine Conley wanted to, she has to get the agreement of the government. Like the office of the presidency, you basically don't do anything without the government's permission. Because literally, say Catherine Conley wants to go off when she's president to Norway, for example, she wants to go off to the Middle East. She needs the backing of the government. The government give her the consent to go, like to go to say if she wanted to go to Palestine in the morning. The government, she would have to go to the Taoiseach and say to the Taoiseach, I want to go to Palestine. And the Taoiseach could say, no, we're not letting you go. Because they have to do it by the consent of the government. That's what it says in the Constitution. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But because she can't really, like anything that's on Constitution, the only role really of the president, the only power that you really have is in terms of laws. The laws of the state. When things go to the president to sign into law, she can refer to the Supreme Court, or she can convene a state council, etc., etc. So she can cause trouble for the government that way. But pretty much, if the Supreme Court says it's constitutional, it's legal to be signed in, or if the Council of State says it's legal, she pretty much has to sign it. Like the office of the presidency, pretty much you're controlled by the government. Basically, you don't have executive authority. Another way in the United States, Donald Trump can sign an executive order, override Congress, etc., etc. In Ireland, they can't do that. They have very little power in anything, pretty much, apart from the laws of the land. But at the end of the day, the presidency doesn't have the power. It's only pretty much a rubber stamp, as you say there. That's really all the job is. You get 300,000 to be a rubber stamp, pretty much. Yeah, so she can't really bring in, even if she wanted to, 200,000 Palestinians or whoever, if that makes any sense. So I'm just reading stuff on social media. So we won't know all the details until tomorrow, but not tomorrow, but later on this evening. So we'll be live later on this evening. But I just wanted to come on for a second because we still don't know. I don't have like a number exactly of how many people the whole country voted for, take for example, despite the vote, or how many people came out, or how many people voted for Catherine Conley around the whole country. Lockstep with the British government. They never left us, to say. But I don't mind like working with the British government and stuff on different things because we're obviously neighbours, and literally 5 minutes up the road from here, it's Northern Ireland, it's British territory. But we have to kind of work with them on different things, especially to do with legislation. As you've seen with Social F, it's getting off for these war crimes. We have to work with the British government, unfortunately, on different things because we're so close to them. If that makes any sense. It's the same with Finland and Sweden and Estonia. They work together very closely because they're pretty much neighbours. We should probably work with our neighbours as much as we can. There's no doubt about that. But the British government never left, unfortunately. MI6 and MI5 never left. So, they're still here. But if that makes any sense. But of course, the British government shouldn't be dictating what we do and what we don't do, etc. It's all right to get to talk to them about different issues, but that's it. Okay, the media are having a mental breakdown. So if you ever want to see the media now and haven't met the breakdown, watch now. No bother, James. No bother. I'll chat to you later. We'll probably be live at some point later on. We'll only be here for another few more minutes anyway. So thank you for stopping by. I'll chat to you later. And if I don't see you later, have a good weekend. Bank holiday weekend. because I say it'll be later on, and by the time we get live, by the time we get the whole results, etc., it's going to take a while. Just trying to see because there's other stuff coming in at the moment. It's just hard to take note of everything. Just put that there. So we might just leave it there for the moment because that's pretty much the whole update at the moment. So we pretty much know who the next president's going to be. I suppose we just have to wait and see by how much did she win, or the whole shebang, how many spoiled votes in total in the whole country. But anyway, let me know what you think. What do you think? But yeah, so thank you. We'll be back later on at some point, hopefully maybe around 6 or something like that. So thank you for the moment.